Good morning and welcome to the April Total CRM Bite session. This month, we're covering how to customize your CRM apps and the benefits of doing so. I'll be running through a live demonstration on how you can tidy up the apps and make them more user-friendly by removing unneeded sections or even making multiple apps to apply security and restrict different sections based on the different areas of your business. So with the release of version 9 of Dynamics 365 came the enhanced ability to modify your apps. So depending on your subscription, you'll have a different base set of apps available to you. In the previous version, you had to use a custom tool to be able to remove the unneeded parts of the system, but now in version 9, the process is much simpler. To view the list of apps, you need to click on the name of the current one you're viewing in the top left-hand corner of your screen. So right here, I've currently got Sales Hub. This will then show you the full list of apps that you have access to. As administrators, you'll see all the apps available for your organization, as well as 3 dots to the right-hand side of the tile. The standard users won't be able to see the 3 dots, as this is where we can start to customize our apps. So if I go to my Sales Hub one and click that, you're going to see that we have 2 options available to select, one being open in the app designer and the other being manage roles. I'm going to leave those for a minute and go to the top right-hand corner of the app selection menu and select create new app. After we click the Create New App button, it's going to open up another tab where we set up the key details of our app. You may notice that the unique name has new at the start. This is due to us creating an outside of a solution. If you want to have your own identifier, in our situation it would be TCRM, you'll do this through the solutions area of the system. Once we set the name, I'm just going to put it in, we'll call it the Total CRM app. And once we've done that, you can pick whether you want to use the default icon or use one of your own images. So if I untick this, it's going to allow me to then pick which icon I want to use. So I'm going to put in our Total CRM logo. And you'll see it's updated on the right-hand side there for me. It may seem like a small thing, but it is a nice personal touch to add for the users. You can also select if you want to use an existing solution or a welcome page for the app, but in most situations, we wouldn't be doing this. Once you're happy, click Done, and it will update the page and bring us full circle back to our app designer, which is what we touched on at the start. That's the button that if we clicked Open in App Designer, it would have come up there. So I'll just close the tab briefly. And if I do a refresh here now on our selection screen, you'll see we have an apps being edited section and we have our new Total CRM app available down the bottom for us to pick. This tells us that it has not been published to the rest of the users, and this is just in the design phase still. Within the 3 dots, we actually have a slightly different option. We've still got our Open in App Designer, but we also have the Publish button instead of the Manage Roles. If we click this, it would then make it available to all of your users and it would push up to the top of the list with the rest of them. For now, we're going to go back into our editor via the Open in App Designer option. The first part that we're going to update is the sitemap. And we can click that by the button with the edit section there. And here we're going to be selecting what will be available on the left-hand menu back in CRM, so along the left-hand side here. There are 3 menu types that make up the sitemap: areas, groups, and sub areas. An example of an area might be sales, marketing, customer service, really the big chunks within your business, the key main areas that we have. So I'm going to rename this one here up the top. Our first area, we'll call that, we'll just call that sales for now. We can drag and drop more of those via the components section on the right here as well. So I could then also add another one there, and we'll call this one marketing, and maybe we'll have another one called customer service as well. And we'll go back to our sales section there. Groups, as the name suggests, are groupings of the entities or tables that we're going to be adding in to our area. So the first one that I'm going to put in here, we'll call stakeholders. Finally, our sub areas are the actual entities that we're wanting on our sitemap. So I'm just going to quickly add a few in. For our stakeholders, we're going to put in our accounts. We'll also put in our contacts. And we'll add another group, and we'll put that just to the right. And we might call this something like our activities. And we'll put those there as well. So we've now added a few in there, a couple of groups and a couple of sub areas as well. The other thing that we can do is you'll see that I've selected the group here. I can also clone this. So if I press clone, I could then drag and drop that within a different area. So I've now copied that grouping from the sales to the marketing section, and we'll just update the name as well to make that stakeholders too. And we'll do the same again to get that across onto our customer service area. So as you can see, the moving and adding is really quite easy to do within the editor. The drag and drop is just really user friendly. You may want to add a different option into your sitemap though. We've added some entities in, but we could also add something like a dashboard. So under the components, I'm going to grab the sub area again. I'll drop that under the activities, and you'll see up the top here, we have the ability to select what type this is going to be. So in this case, I'm going to pick dashboard, and you can then pick what the default dashboard is going to be. So I'm going to put in our opportunity details dashboard. So I've selected that there, and that's now going to be added. We could then also update the title if we were wanting as well. So by default, it's going to select it as dashboards, but I might make it opportunity details, because that's the one that we're going to be specifically looking at, and that's the one I've added onto here as well. We could also add in a website as well. So I might now add in a final group, and we might just call this like the help section, and add another sub area here. And we've also got URL. So what I might do is I might put URL, the help section, we'll have it go to totalcrm.com.au. Whoops. So I added that in, but I didn't give it the title. So we'll call that. So you'll see then for a couple of options, you do have to update the title to make it a bit more meaningful. But for our entities, it's going to give you a pretty good idea just by adding those in from the start as well. The final one that we could add in via the sub area is our web resource as well. And you would upload those again via the back end of the system. You can upload a web resource and then put those into. But for now, we'll just put we'll put another one here in here. Maybe we'll add our, whoops, we'll add in some appointments too. Next up, we've added in everything that we're wanting to on our sitemap. So then we can press save up in the top right-hand corner and then publish as well. If you don't press publish, it's actually not going to then push it through and make it available. So once that's published, we're going to then use the breadcrumbs in the top left-hand corner and go back to our app designer area. And now that we're here, you're going to be able to see all of the key entities that we added onto our sitemap. It's automatically going to add it then within our app. But what we're currently doing is we're actually going to be displaying all forms and all views, which can be an overwhelmingly long list. So if I click onto the views section for the account, there's a huge number of views that aren't necessarily going to be relevant to all of your users. They don't need to see those, and we can cut this down to reduce the clutter and just show some of the more meaningful data. So now that I've clicked on the views section of the account and we can see that it's highlighted here, if we untick the all button up the top, we can then pick only the ones that we're wanting our end users to see. So let's just say, for example, we want them to be able to see the active accounts, all accounts, customers, and then maybe their own active accounts. So rather than showing a list of about 20 or so, we're going to be presenting the list of 4 for them and make it a lot more manageable for them to work with. The same can also be done for the dashboards and our business processes as well. So again, we've got this huge list of dashboards here that it's just going to be a really long list for our users to deal with. So instead of showing all, maybe we'll just show instead our opportunity details one, and we'll turn off this one. So now we're only showing one dashboard here as well. So now that we're happy with the app, we can then save and publish our app and put it out to be available for the users. So again, we're going to do that from the top right-hand corner. We're going to save and we're going to publish here as well. And we can close that down. So now when we go back to our app list, we'll be able to see that our total CRM app here is among the published group, which means we can now lock it down so that only the relevant users have access via the manage roles. So we'll see that we have that there available again. In most cases, you may be allowing all of your users to view each of the apps that you've created. But an example for when you wouldn't is if you've created multiple apps that are relevant to the different business units that you have. Maybe you have a separate sales and customer service app, as they don't need to have their apps cluttered with all the views and entities that are only relevant to the other portion of the business. So to select who can view that app, again, the 3 dots and then selecting manage roles, and it will open up a menu and list all the security roles on the right-hand side that are allowed to access this app. If you want to make it so everyone can do it, you can just click the box up in the top left, which will do a select all for you. If you were wanting to restrict access to only particular people for an app, we recommend making a separate security role for the purpose of allowing access to this app and having that be the one you allow access to. So we would, in this case, I might have a total CRM app access role that we would tick on here. So once you've elected who you want to be using, you can press save and the app's going to be ready to go. All right, so now it's time to open up our new app. So again, like you do with the rest of the apps, it's just a click and it's going to come up and be available for us. You'll see that our sitemap has a reduced list, making it much more manageable for the users, along with the slimmed down number of views. So we've got this small list here that we're going to be able to work with. In the bottom left, you'll find where we can change the areas and then start having a look at the marketing and customer service areas as well that we've set up. So in terms of the process, this is how you do it from scratch. It's very much the same for your existing apps as well. So if you were wanting to modify the existing Sales Hub app, rather than doing your own one, you would just do the same process by going through the opening app designer. But really, if you are wanting to make changes, we do recommend doing it within your own new app. And that way we know that when Microsoft pushes out an update, it's not going to overwrite some of the custom changes that we've made to it. But that's all for our session on the Dynamics CRM apps. As you've seen, it really is quite easy to customize and modify these apps to suit your business needs. By simplifying the content on the app, it can help reduce the overwhelming amount of content for the new users and just make general navigation a lot nicer for the existing users, particularly since in most situations, many of the areas just won't be used by every part of the business. The benefits are going to be well worth the time spent in simplifying these down.